Okay, I hope everyone can hear me. Yeah, as you saw, my name is Janis, very rare Latvian name. And why I'm here, I want to talk about user experience. And it's kind of a hot topic now because everybody's like talking user experience and we have to do it. It's like now, wow, and everybody's doing it. And but rarely you can find any detailed information about what really is user experience. Also, this is more like a basic introduction course that I did twice in Accenture for my colleagues. I just tempered with it a little bit and now we'll present it to you. I hope if it's not new for you, maybe you will learn something new. If not, then good for you. And yeah, and let's start. And first of all, what is user experience? User experience, yeah, is simply a good experience. There's increased satisfaction, ease of use, ease of learning across all the company touch points. And the same goes like good user experience is company-wide endeavor. Why those 2 points? Because user experience is kind of a global thing if you are developing something for your company. And I had a very interesting story. I was calling like a month ago one bank. I will not name the bank in Latvia. And you know, we all hate waiting on the call on the line. And it's like, you know, like all the operators are busy, please wait, like, and so on. And after like a minute, they said, hey, you know, we have a function. You just can press the button and we'll call you back. I was like, wow, that's so cool. It's so impressive. When nobody else thought of that. And about a month, I'm waiting for the call back. So as fast as I started to like this bank, they sanked it. Basically, they lost me again as a kind of customer who thought about them as a company, as a good company, as a thoughtful company. That's why it's very important if you have a, let's say, application that's very good, very nice, but and you have a support line, but your support line kind of lacks support, then basically you probably, it's also fail. Your application will fail and you will losing clients. So this is what is user experience. It's basically good experience, and mostly what we are doing user experience design. And what is user experience design? It's the act of making user experience better. Also making these activities part of your daily job. Always think of it, always like doing it. And also very important is this responding and testing and reviewing your feedback, your results of your researches regarding those changes that you did. Because as you will see later, it's a very big part of user experience is to kind of always test it, always change it, because it's never like a guidebook, like take step 1, step 2, step 3, and you will have a good user experience. And that's not going to happen. Every expert that you're going to talk is going to always tell you it depends. So you always have to test, you always have to check, you always have to, you know, be on top of things. So, and there is a lot of different areas of user experience. I will not get into details, but a lot of people think that user experience is only design part, only visual part, but it's not. As I mentioned before, it's your support line for your product. It's like visual. It's also language that you use in your application, for example. So a lot of parts. And user experience, it doesn't also go to the software. It also goes to the for the hammer. For maybe you have sold the gun, let's shoot like you on your side. So that's also kind of user experience. Yeah, basically is about asking the right questions and understanding what's your problems you have with user experience and fixing them. And one of the very important part is to know those things, because if you solve the wrong problem, it's still not solved. And one of the things that I wanted to start, I will get a little bit of a history. Not too much, because nobody likes history. So yeah, one of the things is you cannot, everyone has its own opinion about how this all started and where it all began. And I have seen a lot of different kind of opinions. So I will be to tell the one that I have been kind of be told. And everything kind of started with user-centered design, when people start kind of manufacturing things like everyday stuff and like home appliances, and they thought about, people are starting thinking like, why do we need, let's say, teach users to do something? Maybe we can make it something more simpler, more understandable. That's why they started this kind of movement. It's called like user-centric design. And at the point when the computer started to appear, there was kind of new way. It's called like human interaction designs. Well, people are starting to think, how are we going to, what will be the interfaces? How are we going to work with these machines? And at first it was mostly about like get the work faster with the machines, but as kind of power of the machines like grow also when the kind of simpler interfaces was added to the PCs, not only punch cards, they also started to thinking about how to make these things faster, how people can learn faster, interact easier with those machines. And a lot of people from psychology field came in and started doing those research, writing papers about the user experience. And I believe one of the things why they're doing it, because like officially it's forbidden to make tests on human beings, so they find kind of loophole. And that's kind of a little bit of a history of this, how it all started. And why is user experience important? As I mentioned before, the products were simpler. For example, it's taking a scale, simple one. You just put the thing and it weighs how much it tells you how much it weighs. But its functionality is kind of limited. So we started introducing electronics and software to those products. And yeah, at first time it's the same, but at the same time you can't just put it in. You have to like turn it on. Then there's a lot of buttons. What those buttons do, how they work, how I can just I don't know. Why are those so many buttons? So complexity rises. So we need to, and if the users do not understand that thing, they will not use it, or it's going to take a lot of time for them to use. So basically, this like new technology will not be more productive, but will be less productive. So that's why there's one of the things, user experience, to make our work more productive with the tools that we are provided. And also, some others why. When I'm attending like user experience trainings, lecturers ask us like, why you are here? Why you are learning user experience? And a lot of guys there, girls, guys are saying like, well, we had a nice product. It was good. We have our users, we had our like money, but then somebody else came across and created something, the same product, but more appealing, more usable, and we're starting to losing clients. And this is happening all over the world. This is very common like answer to this question. So it's not about like, should you do user experience? It's like, you have to do it anyway or another way, because if not, you're kind of losing the game. Also, a lot of things have changed. We have our smartphones, we have tablets, we have like simple, very nice applications that do their job very quickly, and users are getting kind of annoyed if you come to the work and you have, let's say, internal application. It's very crappy. It's like very ugly and it's not very user-friendly. So one of the things, users, we are getting more demanding, and not only about functionality, but also about like how it looks, how it feels. As I mentioned, yeah, there is not so many unique products anymore. So a lot of software are similar. So this is one of the advantages that you can have. You can, against your competitors, you can just make it more appealing to the users. Also, as I mentioned before, user experience includes like this testing and checking out your ideas. Mostly, you can go from the like idea to the final product like without any testing, and you will have it's a great idea, it's cool, I spend a lot of time on it, and then you give it to users and they say it's crap. And I had a lot of like my what I thought about my ideas, how user experience should be done have been broken. So I better to assume that everything you want to do, any idea at the beginning is bad, and then really start doing user experience early, and so you can be sure that it's really bad or maybe it's really great idea. So also, a lot of like latest study shows that about 50% of bugs in most could be avoided if there will be like a user experience like process in developing of the product that could be avoided at the end. So also one of the selling points for user experience is better kind of outcome of product, less bugs, less support phase. Yeah, it's also there is a kind of triangle that you can use in user experience to evaluate your product, because you can get into kind of pitfalls. You can create your application usable, so it's like nice and easy, like eye-appealing. At the same time, it's going to be useful. It does nothing, so users will not use it. As I said, user experience is not only UI. It's also about its usefulness, like how useful it's for the users. You can also get that information out of using user experience design, and also, yeah, you can fix those things. Also, you can make it very like appealing, very useful, but it's not very usable. You're lacking usability for your application. So this is kind of a nice triangle that how you can try to evaluate, your product that you're creating, that you're doing, and these are basically like fundamental layers starting from the bottom that you have to kind of take in mind. First of all, you have to understand what are the users for whom you're creating your product. What are their needs, their goals, who are they? So maybe you have heard personas. It's a very serious part of user experience. You have to start with the basics with that to understand. As I meant about functionality and usefulness, like, is it really your users need your application? If they need, like, how you can create, how you make it functional so it really does its job, about how users will use it, how they're going to navigate to your application, and only at the end, at the top of the end, it comes visual design. And very serious part also about your kind of user experience is the terminology and language that you use in your text. There was a study that if you cut out all the marketing bullshit and present the information nicely, you can get up to 200% of user perceptions of the information that you give them. So it's all the small details are very important. It's more easier to get user experience wrong than get it right. And one of the very kind of serious part of user experience is usability. That's why I want to talk a little bit detailed there. And you a lot of people asking like what I can try to do or how I can evaluate my application or my product against user experience. Am I talking too fast or is it clear or you need me to slow? It's okay? Okay, cool. I'm just checking if you're not like already asleep. Yeah? Okay, so there is kind of 10, they call it heuristics of usability. Like 10 things. I think people are like across a lot of years, they did like 300 or something studies, and they came out like a kind of guidelines, 10 guidelines that you should always be aware when you're creating something. And I wanted to talk a little bit more about these details, like visibility of system status. As we always know, we say like give something to the user to look at while something's going on in the background, like simple loader. If you don't show anything, if your system is lacking kind of information back what's happening, users will wait maximum 2 seconds. If there's like clicking and nothing happening, you're touching, they will get annoyed. If you just show the spinner, people are ready to wait up to 30 seconds. So just a simple spinner that doesn't have any progress can like drastically improve your application user experience. Just try to stick to the simple things, make it consistent across all application. Or if you have multiple products, make them consistency across all of them, so they feel and that they are using your products, that they are kind of the same. Also, about preventing errors. It's kind of, as I've mentioned before, let's say if user kind of fails or it's try to recover him, like don't get him frustrated. Let's say it like that. Yeah, about recognition then rather than call, it's more about making your application, if it looks on your interface, he kind of understands from the interface what he needs to do to get his goal done. Let's say do not make like I don't know, very important function like the 7th in the menu structure. So you have to like think where it is, how I can like get there. Make it maybe I don't know more useful most used more used function somewhere. So he can always like kind of find the way, not like try to always remember how to do things. Also, sometimes you have to make a product for, let's say, different kind of users. And maybe it's very complicated software, but you want to attract more kind of novice users. You can do it, for example, with wizards. You can make a simple interface at the beginning so users can get accommodated with your application or with your product. And afterwards, you can kind of make them, if they get used to that, then you can, you know, just make it removable, and then they see full interface. Also, about aesthetics and minimalism design, users are very, they like simple things. If you think that users need a lot of choices and complicated applications, no, they don't. Study shows that people need, so the things are simple, beautiful, and they work. So it's better to take things out and leave the minimum and do not overdo all the pretty things you will try to do to your interface. Yeah, also it kind of correlates with the language. Also, if something goes wrong, tell the user what's wrong. Tell him how he can, you know, what he can do to not to stumble upon the situation again. About help and documentation, they say if your application needs or your product needs documentation or manual, most of the times that there's a problem in it. But still, I think how many of you like reading help and documentation for your applications or I know the products that you're using? Yeah, because I know this is one of the craziest things, because I thought that like a IT human being, I could like figure out the washing machine. I couldn't. Like I was sitting like half an hour and like trying to understand what the hell, how this thing works. Why there's not one button, I don't know, or like socks, shirts. There's like 2 knobs, there's like temperature and everything. So yeah, I've done the same. But yeah, sometimes users need additional help. So if you make it, there's a lot of different ways how you can make, they introduce them or help them using documentation. Don't use it like one big document, so they have to scroll through and find what's their problem. Next part is about how you can do user experience in different phases of your, it's like, everyday life. Basically, it's about, we have like kind of standard phases in most of the projects. We have like concept, when we start thinking about what we're going to do, how it's going to work, look. Design, its implementation, and launch. And there's a lot of things in each of these steps that you can do user experience-wise, or user experience design. When you're doing a concept, as I mentioned, personas, understand what really your users need, what they want. Also, if you're doing kind of redesign of something, if you're not starting from scratch, but kind of redesigning or making a new version of your application, start with understanding what's really not working, what's really wrong. I don't know, if you have a tech support, ask tech support, what are the most common calls, what people are calling. If you have a forum, check out what are the most common mistakes that users make about what they need to with what they need help. When you design, as I mentioned before, a lot of layers, you have to focus on all of them. About not only like pretty stuff, visual, but also about interaction design, about content, about text, how you're gonna talk with your user. As I mentioned, those design rules, 10 kinds of heuristics, start with them. Also, assume that you're always wrong. You don't have to create sophisticated designs and then give to the user to test it. You can just start scratching some, drafts on the napkins and just show to the random people around me what they are thinking, what you need, do they understand what it is. So, sorry. You can do, and always repeat iterative design, show it to the users. You will not catch all the bugs, but you will get some sort of information that you can afterwards work on, improve, show it again. They will find new problems. There's no way you will get a perfect product out. But you can get most of the problems out. Like if you test with 5 users, you can get up to 85% of problems that could be avoided. Using only simple testing. Also about implementation, you have to be very aware of what's in what sort of process are you working. Are you agile teams? That's most important. That's very popular now. Or a classic more waterfall. There's a difference. I will not get into too much details. As always, try to design user experience things ahead of development. Also, work very close with the team that you're working on, that you're working with, because they can give you very valuable feedback. What's really is working, how you can maybe improve. As I mentioned before, in projects I have worked, a lot of kind of user experience problems are solved not by front-end devs, but for back-end developers, because they have to implement those things. They have to understand how those things work, and they kind of thinking why are we doing things like this? Maybe there's a different way. I can implement it something differently. So talk with your team, talk with the different people, always be together with them. Also, a lot of people thinking after you did the application, you launched it, that's it. My user experience work is done. Wrong. It's about understanding. Afterwards, you do user testing. You can conduct surveys and see, have you really, your user experience improved? Is it really working in real world? You can do a benchmark. Also, users can tell me what they're expecting. Maybe they expected new version, something different functionalities, so you can note for the next release. You can set up analytics, but that's analytics is not the best way to kind of test user experience. Why? You can get only one side of the picture. For example, you have a Google Analytics on your site and you're saying, wow, people are like spending 20 minutes on each page. That's cool. No, they maybe can just find an exit, how to get out of your home site. So, as I said, statistics can give you just a part of the picture. About tracking customer support also, if your product has a customer line, and compare what was the, how many calls were made, what were the main issues for the users before the release on the old, let's say, version or in the new version, or what the problems that you haven't thought about but users are having. Yeah, as I said, this is kind of part of selling user experience. We said it's like, wow, it's really great. It's all like rainbows and ponies, but who's going to pay? Because a lot of projects, okay, we have a money for devs, we have a money, let's say, for testers, but do they have a money? What do we need a user experience guy? Why it is? Like how we can sell it to client? A lot of points I already mentioned. First of all, you can avoid a lot of problems before. Bug fixing phase. You can catch a lot of bugs through the user experience that are mostly, well, because a lot of bugs are, and a lot of projects I've seen are related to user experience things. So you can catch those things. You can get testers will have less work. Also, if clients like money, they like to save money. Mostly they come to save money or to resolve some sort of issue for them. You can kind of get through those issues mentioned. I like this example about a call center or a helpline. If you have, let's say your application lacks usability. Users do not understand. They call a lot to the helpline, and you have to kind of have a lot of people working there just to keep your products alive. If you if you resolve those problems, you can cut those losses, or let's say expenses. They can cut down in half the call center. So in the long run, he can kind of save a lot of money. This is one of the things. Yeah, and I said about selling user experience. Also, next thing for you have an internal application, and it takes a lot of time for some tedious task. If you can only improve, let's say that this task can be done a few minutes faster, and the company is global and big, this time saved together will be such a big amount that you can also try to change into the numbers. That's how many money he's going to save. Also, what's your client's goals? You can push it on them. I believe I'm going to end on this note, and yeah, I already talked for some time. Maybe you have some questions. Maybe you have, maybe you need some clarifications, or I didn't maybe tell something and you need to know. Yeah.
I think about the user experience, and I think that you told everything about that, but it seems that there is a lot of experience they already have in the IT industry, and that means that in some way there must be a standard of user experience.
Yes and no. When I talk with the experts, they say, yeah, we have a kind of guidelines. You can find a lot of them. And the funny part is a lot of those guidelines do not change much over time. If you take some guidelines from 90s and even 80s, like 80% of them will be still true. But at the same time, they always say, it really depends. They never can say, give you like do this, this, and this, and this, and that's, you will get the best and perfect user experience. That's why you have to test and get feedback from your users.
The user experience
Well, it's kind of is, but at the same time, I don't know, for me it was fun when I tried first. We needed to create kind of a pizza ordering form, and our team was like in half and half. We had half designers, half developers. And we had a kind of heated discussion, because designers wanted it to be pretty and beautiful, but devs was like, come on, just simple form like drop downs and radio buttons, that will be enough. It's the best user experience. So we went with this kind of simple form, and we invited the user from outside, and we did this user testing. He had to like interact with this prototype, and this was very confusing for him. And that's when I understood that I'm kind of stupid and do not understand, because I think in a developer's way, not how users' way. So yeah, it's kind of risky, but at the same time, you can fail the product not doing it, or you can early understand what's wrong, fix it, and give the final product to the user.
The risky moment is that when the users start to use it and start to talk to team, then teams start to think different, and then could disappear the moment of creation of creation of interface or other like this, because everybody understands, oh, okay, this is strange thinking how the user wants to see, and usually it is maybe it is very hard to reach this goal.
Well, yeah, it's not always easy. As I mentioned before, you will never get it perfect. There's no such thing as a perfect user interface, because there's different users, different goals you need to achieve. But using these techniques and user experience, you can maximize your goal. Yeah, basically that's the only thing. And also, if you're not talking to users, then why are you creating this software? For your amusement? Okay, you can do that. But I believe that main thing is to have fun, create product, and gain some money out of it. Let's say get it to generate income. So then you're creating it for yourself. This is because we think we're selfish, we know everything. As I've said, always assume that we are wrong, and test and test and check and recheck. Yeah. Yeah. And any other? Yeah. Okay. So.
I have a question about maybe it's not about user experience, but about the shares and like when we press them, how to make our clients, users, to see things on our page that they want to press like or share, so everybody more know about our page.
Well, first of all, as I mentioned, there is kind of thing content and how you talk to your client. If they're the things that you're saying, it's interesting for them. Like you talk to them. Do you know them? What they are interested? They will share and like. Not everybody, of course, but that's the thing is understanding who your users are. If they're, I don't know, understand if they like puppies and I don't know, kitties. Yeah, okay, it's maybe like a kind of stupid example, but the thing is to understand what they want, what they need, what sort of information they would like to share. And then they're going to click. Yeah, you can do some tricks, like, for example, bigger buttons, I don't know, try to invite, but those are kind of like...
You can show an image of iPhone 6.
Yeah, and said like share and like, and we will give one free. Yeah, you can do like those kind of tricks, but I'm not very fond of them. It's there was one example. Okay, I will not get into too much details. Yeah, I don't know if I answered your question, but yeah, if nobody likes the content, they will not share it. So.
One sort like this that one program uses a lot of interface. The user could choose
different interfaces. Yeah. Well.
It's a good idea. Or
it's better to test those different interfaces at the beginning. You can kind of do A/B testing on users. I know some companies. I think TiVo was doing A/B testing. They were like changing small things every day and showing to different users different things every day on their application. Like if you will not notice them, but they will like get this like underlying feedback, like what's more works one thing or the second one. But better not to do it at the end. That means that you kind of didn't do your job at the beginning. Choose one that's more talk to the your goal users. And well, then yeah, then kind of I'm against that. Other like exception is when I mentioned that you have a very complex application. You can kind of hide this complexity at the beginning. If you want to get some new users who are not domain experts, you can show them, let's say, wizards or another like simpler ways to do like everyday tasks. It's kind of not, let's say, different interface, but it's kind of helpers. This is one thing that you can do. Yeah.